Hi, are you sick and tired of paying hundreds of dollars a month for cable or dish? GNR TV is your answer. These guys have an incredible 100% legal product that is a cord cutter's dream. For as low as $25 a month, you will get over 400 HD channels, including all major sports packages, pay-per-views, premium movies, and entertainment. To get started, all you need is a streaming device, such as an Amazon Fire Stick, internet, and a desire to save a ton of cash. No contracts, no credit checks, no hidden fees. I myself have been a subscriber, and I must say this service is amazing. To learn more, search GNR TV on Facebook or Instagram, and I will also be posting a link on my pages to check out on my podcast website. Lastly, for first-time subscribers, use promo code SIRS30 to save $5 for your first month. GNR TV, streaming done right.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of almost all ages, with parental consent, the Sick Twisted Minds at Sacrificial Pawn Productions brings you a new style of horror film, like nothing you have seen before. There are no cops, no investigations. There is no backstory, no follow-up of the victims who were brutally tortured and murdered. Our story isn't about them. Normal Terror is about a single dad struggling to make ends meet. His son is his first priority. He goes to work, pays his bills, and is generally a great dad. The twist comes after he puts his son to bed. This is where he releases his stress. Some people do yoga, some hit the gym, some go for runs, some people paint on a canvas. An anonymous source once wrote on an abandoned asylum wall, "I never understood people until I took one apart just to see how it worked." If you are rear-ended in traffic, most people's thought runs to anger and their primal instincts of hurting the other party. Sam Neill does not have the ability to stop that primal instinct. Let us take you into the mind of a killer. Normal Terror is a concept from the mind of Sam Mason, who wrote, directed, produced, and is starring in this new age feature film.
Let's get slicing and dicing with Sir Sturdy horror fans. On this podcast, you will hear me and a guest do some movie reviews, random funny horror chats, and whatever else comes to mind. So tune in, kick back, relax, and always remember, I'll see you in your nightmares.
Well, just Jason's mask.
Good evening, ladies and gents. I'm on here with Tyree Salazar. Did I pronounce that right?
It's Salazar.
Salazar, sorry. Tyree
You're
Salazar.
right.
And he's an up-and-coming horror director, big horror fan, which we're going to learn more about him, and we're just going to get right into it. So, hey, man, what got you into horror?
Well, I've always kind of had a bit of a tinge towards that kind of stuff since I was a little kid. The first, I guess, in quote, horror movie I ever saw was King Kong, the original from 1933.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really that scary anymore, but back then it was pretty scary. I saw those crazy special effects they were doing in there with stop motion and stuff, and it really just captured my imagination, and it's all really kind of branched from there.
That's awesome. Now, what's the backing off of that question, what's the first movie that scared you that you can remember? Was it that, or was it?
The first movie that scared me. You know what? It's kind of a dumb movie. It's actually Ernest Scared Stupid. I watched that movie when I was a little kid, and it has a troll in there, and he kidnaps and turns children into wooden statues. I don't know why, because it's supposed to be a comedy movie, but when I was a kid, that scared the crap out of me.
Yep, Ernest Scared. That was. I get it though, because the first movie that I remember that scared me, I think this is the first movie that scared me was I don't know if are you familiar with the Creepshow movies?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Love those.
Creepshow 2, The Hitchhiker.
Oh yeah. Thanks for the ride, lady. Yeah.
Yes.
Totally. Yeah.
I was so scared to the point to where after the movie was over, I'm watching it with my older brother and older cousins,
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm like 6, 7 years younger than them, so everything they're doing, I want to be doing, and horror movies was one of them.
Right.
And like when the movie was over, I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. They're like, you know, oh, go ahead, Aaron, go. I'm like, no, someone has to walk me to the bathroom. And similarly, literally had to walk me to the bathroom, stand outside the bathroom until I was done. And you know, I went back and watched more horror movies though, which is just
Well, hey.
it's funny how it works. You know, it's funny how it works like that. Something will literally damn near literally scare the shit out of you, and you'll go back and just keep watching it. Like, oh yeah, I like this.
Yeah, that's how they get you. You get hooked.
I know. What's your favorite genre of horror?
Ooh, that's tough. You know, I want to say werewolves, but that's only because that's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I really like a cult kind of horror. Things that have to do with like possession and demons, stuff like that. I like really crazy kind of B-movie horror, that kind of stuff.
B-movie horror, I love it.
Yeah. Evil Dead, especially that series.
It's funny you say that because we just did a podcast on Evil Dead Part 2 last night.
Nice. That's awesome.
And actually, we finally did them all. I did Army of Darkness a few weeks ago. I did the original Evil Dead. Damn, when did I do that? I think I put it out sometime earlier this year, or last year, sorry. And
I'll have to give it a listen.
The remake we just did like last week, which unpopular opinion, but that's my favorite one. The remake.
Really? I really enjoy that one. I love how brutal it is.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing about it is, I really kind of just miss a bit more of the campiness of the original in there because there's not much slapstick, which, I mean, it wouldn't really fit in that movie anyway. But, that's the only thing about it for me. My favorite is actually Army of Darkness, which is kind of funny because it's like the least scary one. And
it was a funny one, though. It was probably the funniest one out of the three. I'd have to say my favorite, like I said, is the remake, and then my second favorite is the first one. Just, I love the gore in both of them, and I don't know, it just caught my attention. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like the remake, I love at the end when it's raining blood.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
I love when the chick splits her tongue with the razor. And just
man,
it was so
so man,
good.
When that lady when she stabs him in the eyeball with that syringe in the bathroom.
Yes.
Man.
Oh yes.
That still gets me every time.
That whole scene, that whole bathroom scene was so good. It was so nuts, but it was like poetic in a fucked up way.
Yeah.
I was
you need somebody to take you to the bathroom after seeing that one.
Oh my god, I don't even know if I want to go to the bathroom after seeing that one. Oh man. My favorite genre though of horror is actually like slash. I love slasher films.
Oh yeah.
Huge Jason fan because I mean as a kid, USA Network Friday the 13th I think was playing all weekend. So
nice.
That's how you get hooked on those.
Yeah, those 80s slashers are the best.
I agree. They're just so great. But I will say that did you get to see the movie Terrifier?
I have not seen that one yet. It looks interesting. I've been meaning to check it out.
If you have Netflix, I highly recommend it. It is amazing, and it's kind of like a throwback to the '80s slashers in a sense. If you watch it, I mean, it's more up to date, obviously, with cell phones and all that, but still, it was great.
I mean, all that stuff's coming back around. Like, we just had that new Halloween come out, and it was very much like the original. And then you got like Terrifier, like you said. It seems to be an homage to the '80s kind of stuff. A lot of that '80s kind of B-movie stuff's really coming back, which is awesome.
I agree 1,000,000% on that because that's just. I know people want new ideas for horror, which, I mean, I do too. But at the same time, there's nothing like just popping in a slasher and just, what's going to happen. And it's just like, oh, my God, I'm watching these people get chopped up. And I see, like, I'll see, like, a lot of memes and stuff, like, on Facebook and all that nowadays. With horror movies, like, now that I'm getting older, I'm rooting for the villain. I'm like, I was rooting for the villain since I was a child. I don't know what it was, but, again, like, with Jason, you just, like, his kills are so iconic. They're so memorable, so great, and I love it, man. It's just fun.
The one thing I do like about a lot of the newer kind of slashers that are coming out is that, at least versus like the ones that came out like the early 2000s, is that in the early 2000s, I feel like they would just try to get like the best looking actors that they could get, and they were basically like like porno actors in a horror movie. And now they kind of have put more of a focus on the writing and stuff like that. So a lot of the characters are a little bit more fleshed out, and you actually care about them, which is really cool. It's like a new. I mean, it's not a new thing to have good characters, but it seems to be coming around in the newer horror films, which I like.
I actually agree with you 1,000,000% in that. And I say this all the time. I'm like, they put, as far as, we'll go with the male actors, they put so many damn pretty boys in these movies, just like you're saying, and it's like, you kind of want them to die.
Right,
like,
yeah,
come on now.
totally.
You want more, like, for me, you want more of like a rugged / regular looking person. This is male or female in the movie. Yeah, you might want 1 or 2 hot females in the movie, with whatever. But it's like, you just don't, I don't know. You don't really connect with those type of characters too much because they're too superficial. Like, it's usually the jock and all. I'm like, cool, that's cool and all, but it gets kind of boring.
Yeah, that's why I like to have that that everyman character that people can really latch onto. That
you can relate to.
Yeah.
That everyday kind of guy, like, a regular guy like me or you, which we'll get into what you're doing with you. What got you into wanting to make movies?
Yeah, well, that also stems from that same King Kong story that I was telling a little bit earlier. When almost like maybe exactly after I watched that movie, my dad had this old tape VHS camera, which was like really decrepit and falling apart by the time I got to it. But I went back out and took it, and I went in the backyard and remade King Kong with like action figures and a King Kong puppet that I made out of a Superman doll with some socks on it. They were black socks. I just cut them up and taped it on there, and basically remade the movie shot for shot. And like right from then, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. And it's just like, you let your imagination just kind of take over and doing it shot for shot, just with action figures, and you said something socks, and
it was a kind of a hodgepodge. And when I had the planes at the end of the movie, I had like this like metal Coca-Cola plane. So I guess I got the product placement out of the way straight away.
No, that's real cool though. Like that's cool that
I appreciate it.
You thought of that as a kid wanting to do that, and you just stuck with it up till now. And I think you should definitely got to keep doing it. Stick with it.
I'm trying to.
I hear you. Now, have you got a chance to like reach out to any, let's say, indie directors or anything, or?
No, I haven't spoken with any larger ones. I spoke with one of the contestants on the show that's on right now, Rebel Without a Crew. And we talked a little bit, but that wasn't really much of a longer discussion or anything like that. Really, I mean, out here in Colorado, the film scene's kind of small. So there's a few like indie directors and a couple of groups that I'm in, but there's nothing too major going on around here.
Okay. So I actually know, like, which I should have shown. I meant to send you this trailer. But anyway, I'll send it to you after we record. But the guy, the movie he's doing is called Normal Terror. And he's acting in it, directing it, producing it, and all that good stuff. They just had their Sacrificial Pawn production company that just became like their LLC sometime in January, I believe. But I'm gonna give you his information. But maybe you guys can talk something up eventually, because he's out in California. So.
Oh, okay, cool. That would be really awesome.
But. Yeah, he has a lot of stuff coming. I can't disclose what he has coming up, but he has a lot of things coming up that he wants to do after this movie. And I actually recorded with him last night. He was on the review with me last night for Evil Dead 2, and I told him, I was like, I'm recording with somebody tomorrow. I'm recording with somebody tomorrow who's getting into this whole directing thing and, making horror movies. And I was like, I'm going to let him know about you, and I'm going to give you his information and vice versa, because
okay, yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. I want to see something cool.
Hopefully it is cool.
Oh, it will be. It will be. I got to watch your short film earlier.
Oh yeah.
And no, it was pretty decent though. Like I don't know what the budget was, and I understand you have to do what you can do. So, like looking at it from that kind of standpoint, I kind of seen your vision, and I was like, this guy's really gonna be able to do some good stuff once he gets the stuff he needs.
The actual budget for that is actually $15. That was the budget.
See, and real quick, what I want to say to people out there is, for those of you who want to make these horror movies, indie horror movies, and all this stuff, you hear that? His budget, $15. That's it.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah, you just got to start, man.
Exactly. You got to start. You get it out there, and eventually someone's gonna be like, "Hey, I want to pick this person's brain or whatever. I want to work with them." And it was cool though, man. Like,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
what was your, how did you get started with that? Like, how was the process for that film?
Oh, yeah, that's quite a story. So basically, there's a drive-in in my town of Fort Collins. It's called the Holiday Twin Drive-In. And they were putting on an event. It was like Brews and Bikes or something like that. And it was essentially a local film festival and like a beer festival at the same time. And I was like, man, I saw that and I was like, man, I got to get a film plane up there. But the thing was, I didn't have any that were done at that point, and the submission deadline was 2 weeks away. So I was like, okay, I got to make something. And so I grabbed up like $15 and I went over to a costume shop that we have over here, and I bought like liquid latex, and I bought all this kind of makeup stuff. And I was like, all right, I'm going to make a werewolf movie, because I've been wanting to make one since like I first started making movies when I was a kid. And so basically I grabbed my girlfriend and we just kind of hashed out that movie in like 2 weeks from beginning to end. And I had to have like a soundtrack made and everything like that. So it was like a really quick turnaround, fast process. So, I mean, it does come out kind of rough, but that's just because it was really rushed.
That's cool though, man, because you, at the very least, you still went out for, you're like, I want to try this, I want to do this. I have $15 in my wallet, I'm going to go spend that money, I'm going to go do this, and you did it. And I really want to see a lot more work from you, but like what you can do.
Hey, I appreciate that. Hopefully I can make some more.
I think you will. Do you have any ideas for like your next project you want to do, or?
Well, I mean, I'm doing this feature film version of the short right now.
Okay.
And then I have some other short films that I would like to do, but this has kind of been my main take-up right now.
Okay. That's good, though. And are you going to have, how long do you want the movie to be?
It's going to be, I'm thinking between 80 to 90 minutes, so it'll be pretty short. It's like just like a really fast-paced kind of B-movie action kind of cult movie with like a werewolf cult in it, and it's got like all kinds of stuff, and it's gonna have like a metal soundtrack, so it should be pretty cool.
That's nice.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, because I listen to like a ton of filmmaking podcasts like this one, and one of my favorites is the Indie Film Hustle podcast with Alex Ferrari. And they're always having guests on there talking about, like, with your first movie, it's not going to be perfect. You just kind of got to get it going, and you got to get it out there. And so that's what kind of the approach I'm taking. I kept the budget. It's going to be real low. And I'm going to try to shoot it quickly and just kind of get the career started, because, I mean, you can't be a filmmaker if you don't make films. So I got to make one.
Have you ever thought about, maybe not for this film, but maybe for a future film, trying like an Indiegogo type of thing?
Yeah, I'm actually going to do that for this one. I've been on a little bit of the marketing train right now, getting the word out around here to try and get that. But the budget is so low that it should be attainable. So.
Okay, well, let me know when that starts up, because I'll definitely back something like that.
Totally. I would appreciate that very much.
Definitely.
I will definitely let you know.
As a matter of fact, what I can do for you too is, once we're done with recording this, we'll chat a little bit. But
okay.
Send me your link. Email me the link to the movie, and email me when you get it set up, the Indiegogo, and I'll put it on my homepage of my podcast. I have a page. It's called like Cool Pages to check out or whatever, and it's just a bunch of other podcasters, anything, you know what I mean? Podcasters, whatever it is, but just a bunch of pages to follow and check out. So I had yours on there.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, I would definitely appreciate that, man.
Oh, no problem. And I'm really excited to see this, because like I said, I watched about 12-minute short earlier, about an hour ago, and I'm just like, he has an idea in here. He has a great idea in here, and
yeah, just gotta pull it out of there.
yeah. But I mean, again, like you said, it was a $15 budget, which I highly respect that, because people think that they need like $10,000 or whatever to start something. I'm like, you could do this Do a 12-minute short, see what you can do, and then try to build off of that, what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, people like they put obstacles in front of themselves, but I think it's really just stems from the fear of starting and making a movie, because it is very scary. Because you're putting your name out there on the line, and you could fail, and it could be a bad movie. But I mean, you have to, it's just kind of something you got to live with.
Mm-hmm.
And people like to put obstacles in front of themselves, like, oh, I need this camera, or I need this much money, or I can't do it if I don't have this actor. But I mean, really, it has to come from within. You just really got to start, because, like, there's a great quote, and it's the cavalry isn't coming. You're the cavalry, so you have to kind of like save yourself, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that's good though. Like, I like the direction you're going. I like the passion you have for it. I love the passion you have for it, because you're not making any excuses. Like, your excuse could have been, look, I only have $15. What the hell can I do with this? I need, I need $1,500 at least.
Yeah.
And you did that, and again, everybody out there that's trying to do things, do these little shorts.
Yeah, they're a great proving ground, and I mean, you don't really need film school. Like, I mean, if you can afford to go to film school, totally do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, making films is really you're gonna learn a lot more doing that than sitting in class, in my opinion. So you just gotta kind of just make stuff.
That I agree with you on, as far as hands-on versus just sitting there for a lecture. I don't know anything about film school, but just in general, I feel like hands-on, you learn a million times faster, or just, doing it on your own, trial and error. And, eventually.
The good thing.
No, go ahead.
The good thing about film school is, like, you get a lot of good connections out of there, and you have some good resources that you can use.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, other than that, I mean, you don't really learn as much as you will about filmmaking by doing it as you will in class.
That's true. And I mean, you can learn a lot just from watching YouTube videos, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Totally, yeah.
Like, I've learned podcasts. I mean, for the most part, podcasting's simple, but there's things here and there. I go on there, look up some tips. I did in the beginning, especially with the mixer I have, which I'm still learning. But
yeah, YouTube is just such an asset. Hopefully, it sticks around forever.
I know, it's such a really good tool if you go on there for laughs or to learn.
You can learn anything. You can learn how to install a toilet main on YouTube.
Yes, you can.
You might mess it up, so I wouldn't recommend that. Not to be replaced for your local contractor.
Yeah, you're right about that. You're definitely right about that. So, what was I going to ask you? Damn, I had a question and it slipped. You got anything you want to ask me?
I hadn't really thought of any questions I might want to ask. No, I gotta say I don't really have any questions, man.
Well, that's cool though. I know I have more. I'm trying to think of more horror. Oh, what movies are you looking up or looking forward to this year? Horror movies.
For sure, It Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed the remake of the first part, and I hope that they can do the adult part justice. Because in watching the original, like, definitely the part with the kids is a lot better.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see how they do it. I love that Bill Skarsgård's performance as Pennywise. So I'll be happy to see more of that. What about you? Anything?
Pretty much all of them, it seems.
Yeah, anything?
Like, what's coming up? The movie Us looks great. The Jordan Peele movie.
Oh, yeah.
That looks good.
For that.
There's another movie called, I think it's called Ma. I don't know if you've seen the previews for that, but it looks crazy.
I'll have to look that one up. I haven't seen any previews for that one.
I seen the trailer like one time. I would try to explain it, but I'm terrible at that, and I won't do it justice. But I seen the trailer like one time, and I was like, "Holy shit, this looks good!" But those two movies, Pet Sematary.
Oh yeah, cannot wait. I'm actually reading that right now.
It's funny you say that because I started reading that a few months ago, and then I stopped. I got to pick it back up and finish it before this movie comes out.
Right. Yep. That's what I'm trying to
do. And that's what I did with I did that with It when that came out. Before it came out, my brother gives me the book. I start reading it. I'm reading it like on breaks at work and all this good stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, shit, this movie's coming out in like 2 weeks. There's no way hell I don't have time to read this.
Yeah, that's a long book, man.
So I I lucked out and I found the audiobook online. I downloaded that and listened to it. I was listening to that at work. I listened to that everywhere until I.
Oh, nice. Yeah, was it actually read by Stephen King or was it somebody else?
No, it was somebody else. I wish it was read by
Oh.
Stephen King.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
But it was. I love how I know it didn't go shot for shot and everything with the book, but I love how it did match up with a lot of parts with the book, which was amazing. And I'm expecting the same from Pet Sematary.
Yeah, it looks intense. Like that, they put out the second trailer because I mean the first one came out and I was excited that they were remaking Pet Sematary, and it looked like it was going to be faithful. But like that second trailer just totally upped the ante because they showed you a lot more stuff. And I like that they took a little bit of a different direction because I know like in the original, I'm sure you've seen it, when the little boy gets hit, spoiler alert, by the truck. It looks like they're having the daughter this time. So that could be a little bit of an interesting dynamic because she's a little bit older and more capable of doing things. So that should be an interesting direction that they took with it.
That is interesting. I can't wait for that movie. I think that movie I want to see more than the other ones. Honestly, I think.
Well, it's the first one coming up, so.
Yeah, that could be what it is too.
Yeah, you'll get your wish here soon.
Yeah, I know. I did see was it last week, Tuesday actually, my wife and I went to go see Nightmare on Elm Street because it was a 35-year anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
And they were showing it in Regal Cinemas. Oh, my goodness. That was so freaking awesome to see that. That was so... That right there, when I seen that, I was like, there needs to be a theater that does this all the time that just shows horror classic movies.
Oh, yeah, dude. You know what? In my town here, we actually have something like that. It's a video rental store as well as a theater in the back, and they show all kinds of horror and B movies and stuff like that on the weekends. It's called the Gorehounds Playground. I've shot a couple of promos for them. A bunch of great guys.
That's awesome.
So hopefully they'll be happy I mentioned it.
It's funny. My brother lives out in Colorado. I'm not sure what part. I forgot. But he told me about that the Gorehounds Playground, because he invited me to that Facebook group. He's in that Facebook group, but he said he lives about an hour from there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that place is awesome. I'm always in that store.
So I told him whenever I go out to visit him, we're going to have to check that place out. But that's...
Oh, for sure.
That's really cool, though.
Yeah, we're starting to cultivate a bit of a better film scene out here, which is nice. More opportunity for filmmakers.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Oh, shit, I had something else to say, too. Damn. I hate when my mind just goes blank like that.
Yeah, I totally understand.
I asked you about what got you into... Okay, if you can direct any horror movie ever, what would it be and why?
Any horror movie ever. Am I doing a remake or am I directing the original?
Let's say both. Let's say both.
Let's see. Okay, so if I'm doing a remake, that's tough. That's tough. I think. I'm not. I always had like this kind of idea in my head that I would never remake a movie. Oh man, back against the wall. I think I would like to do a big screen adaptation of Salem's Lot.
Okay.
Because I really like the miniseries version, but obviously it was just TV in like the 70s, so it's pretty censored and stuff like that. And that one would be really fun to do because it's kind of like a crazy vampire story. So that would be probably one that I would do. If I was doing an original, man. Yeah, that's a tough one. You know what? I'll go ahead and say I'd like to remake King Kong again.
There you go.
Do that.
There you go. Doing the original of that would be cool.
Yeah.
That's what started it. Everything started it all.
Yeah.
Right? No, that would be real cool, actually.
That'd be like a paradox because, like, if I made the movie to help start my own career, that'd be.
Yeah. Now, what about are you into acting, or you rather be behind the camera?
I would rather be behind the camera. I usually end up having to act in my own films, just out of necessity. Which it's fun, but I would really rather just behind the camera.
Okay. It's just. You just don't. Is it that you don't? I mean, you did say acting was fun, but obviously you just enjoy directing so much more.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to focus on giving a good performance as well as orchestrating others' performances. And,
Okay.
I mean, a lot of guys can do it. Like Ben Affleck, he's a great actor director, or a lot of those guys are really good at acting in their own movies.
Hmm.
I just would rather be able to focus on orchestrating good performances from the other actors in the movie rather than having to focus on myself as well.
Understandable. Understandable. That's cool though, man.
Especially on like indie films, like since I'm doing such like a micro budget one, I'm gonna be like the producer, most likely DP, and I'll be working on actually directing the thing, and so I'm gonna have like a lot of hats on. So
Yeah,
it'd be difficult to act as well.
that makes plenty of sense.
Yep.
Now, how long does it take to do? I'm trying to think how to ask this question. How long does it take to do a movie? Like the one you're planning out, you said you want it to be about 90 minutes tops. How long do you think it'll actually take to? I know it'll take more than 90 minutes to actually do the whole movie. Like, do you have a time frame?
Well, essentially, it can take either a really long ass time to make a movie, or you can kind of do it quick.
Mm-hmm.
The best way to do it quick, I would say, is, and this is a great quote from Robert Rodriguez, is to take stock of what you have.
Mm-hmm.
So, like he said, when he was making El Mariachi, he had access to a Mexican town, he had a bus, and he had a turtle, and all of those things are in the movie. And so, basically, what you want to do is take stock of locations that you can get for free or very cheap. And right around those, and try to keep it to a low amount of locations, low amount of, like, small cast. You just kind of want to just shrink it all down to what you can manage to get together quickly. Now, for me, I'm thinking it's probably going to be like a 10-day shoot, but that's only because of some of the difficulty of the special effects. Because I mean, you got werewolf transformations and limbs being ripped off and things like that. So that'll definitely boost time on it, but just if you keep it real simple, you should be able to get it done quicker. My timeline is I want to have this done by Halloween this year.
Oh, nice.
So that's what I'm hoping to be the premiere day is going to be Halloween.
Now, would you try to? Excuse me. Are you going to try to get at any film festivals or?
A lot of the film festivals that I would like to get into, like Shriek Fest and Scream Fest and stuff like that, their submission deadlines are in August, and I will still most likely be in post around that time.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to get to those. I was thinking about having like a local Fort Collins premiere, and then that would just be kind of like friends and family and people around in the area that would like to see it, and then I would take it out on the festival circuit in 2020.
Okay, that'd be really cool. What about like a horror conventions?
I have factored those into my actually like kind of my marketing thing. Is I wanted to go to a bunch of different horror conventions in like a giant werewolf costume and kind of just raise awareness that way. A lot of them don't really like show a lot of films. They're more like expos. You kind of go around and walk around on like the floor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, all that horror stuff later in the year, kind of you got to have your stuff in by middle to August. So it's just kind of a difficult, deadline to reach.
No, that's a good goal though. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I can't wait to see that movie.
Yeah, maybe we'll come on down to Gorehounds and we'll show it down there.
If I was that close, believe me, I would. But I will tell my brother about it because he's out that way, and if he's free, he would definitely go check it out because he's another person. He loves horror and he loves back in indie horror as much as I do. But hey man, I mean we could wrap it up if you want.
Let's see, we got about 33 minutes.
You got unless you got more you want to promote and discuss. I'm cool.
I mean that's the only real project I have going on right now. I guess the only thing I would like to kind of record a message just kind of to indie filmmakers.
Okay.
And it'll be kind of a lot of the same stuff I was just talking about like just getting started and stuff like that. But I think it is kind of important for people to hear it. I mean, obviously I haven't made a movie yet, but maybe, there's somebody out there that needs to hear what they need to hear to get in gear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can do that if we'll go ahead and record that one.
Yeah, go ahead. You can do that if
All
you
right. Okay, sorry, I got to think of how I want to start.
No, you're perfectly fine, man. Whenever you're ready, just you can just go right ahead.
Okay, so if you're here, you obviously want to make movies, or you want to direct movies, or you want to write movies, or you want to act. Well, here's the thing. If you don't start doing those things, it's not going to happen. You have to get yourself in the mindset of making things and starting out and just kind of getting the legs churning to get your career started for yourself. There's really not any sort of like magical being that's going to come down from Hollywood and pick you up and say, come with me. You kind of have to get yourself out there. And, it does happen to some people, but like Alex Ferrari says, that's a lottery ticket mentality. It's really, it's like winning the lottery. We always hear the stories about people who go to Sundance and they get picked up, and, the Quentin Tarantinos, the Robert Rodriguez's of the world. But, of course they're going to show you that. That's the lottery ticket winner. They don't show you all the people who are, working hard underneath and just pumping out movies like, your Lloyd Kaufmans from Troma, all those kind of guys who are, they just grind away and make movies. And even if all you do is grind away and make movies and you're making a little bit of money on each one, isn't that what you want to be doing? You're making movies for a living. That's really the goal for all of us. But you really, just, hey, take some money. It doesn't have to be a lot. Get a couple of friends together, get a camera, and go shoot something. And from there, you'll find yourself, starting to make more, and then you make connections, and then from that process, you can get yourself where you need to be. But you really have to start. That's the only thing I can say, and it has to come from within, but you have to make something. And that'll be it.
That was good.
No, a little bit.
No, that was good, because it's just pretty much telling people just with movies in general, but not just with movies. If you have a goal you want to achieve, stop making up excuses. Go out there and do it. Try it. You're gonna fail. You're gonna fall, but you gotta get back up and keep fighting for it.
Right. That's the only way it's gonna happen.
And that's awesome, man. Like that was good. I'm over here just thinking, like, damn, is he talking to me? But no, it's really cool though what you're saying. And I highly appreciate it. I highly respect that, and I appreciate you coming on this podcast. And
hey, I appreciate you having me on, man. It was great to talk to you and nerd out about horror for a little bit.
Oh hell yeah! And listen, I definitely want you on again one of these days to review some horror movies with us. That'd be a good time.
I would love to.
Which, we have each other's information, so I'm gonna.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and you want to plug your pages and all that good stuff before I close it out?
Sure. You can find me on Facebook as Tyree Salazar, or I just uploaded a page for The Howl, which is the title of the movie. You can find me there. You can find me on YouTube. That channel is also just my name, Tyree Salazar. And then I am on Instagram as well as Tyree Salazar Films. I will have a new Instagram coming up for The Howl soon. So definitely check all of those out. I'm going to have all of my updates on there, posters, things like that. And then soon, I'm thinking around maybe next month or the month after, I'll be gearing up for that crowdfund. So definitely check on that as well.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. And ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you all for listening. Tyree, thanks again for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And yes, definitely go check out all of his stuff. Please, I will have it posted on the page very shortly, within a day or two. And for my lovely listeners, if you ever want to be a guest on this podcast, shoot me an email, horrorwithsir.sturdy@gmail.com. I have a Facebook page and a Facebook group, Horror with Sir Sturdy. And as far as the platforms you can hear me on, Podbean, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, plenty more. I'm on Twitter now. My Twitter is HW_Sir_Sturdy. And again, reach out if you're interested in being on the podcast, and just come check the podcast out. Thanks for listening, and as always, I'll see you in your